so I hit on the fact that I played basketball through high school.
You did.
What's your background? Like
hit
sports?
I hit on girls.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that. Thankfully, I've got this long-term relationship that I'm in and have been.
Long-term, I've been married. Have you been to Reese Nichols? Like, have you ever walked in the door?
No.
Well, I'm going to suggest you don't.
Well, considering, who I'm married to, she's fine with
She
me
doesn't
never
like
watch.
Reese Nichols?
She doesn't really give a hoot about jewelry.
Well, they got a whole man section.
You know what? I buy my watches less expensively.
What? I realize you do, but that's okay. Because there's lots of great watches that you can experience at whatever level you. I mean, this is a $400 watch. That's an inexpensive watch. It is an inexpensive watch.
Well, again, we have different ideas of expensive and inexpensive.
I have a watch on my thing that is a $410,000 watch. That, sir, is an expensive watch.
Yes, that is. This was probably $150, $200.
That's a fair price
on an island.
Yeah.
And it's
Seiko?
a Seiko. So
good watch. Great watch.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I don't have to put a battery in it because I have, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but I have like a small collection of watches.
I do too.
Yes, yours are significantly more expensive.
That doesn't matter. It's just about the watch.
Right. So I think I have like 10 watches. 2 or 3 of them were $10 watches, and I go back about every 5 or 6 months, and I got to get new batteries. This watch never needs a battery.
Well, so I just had to drop off a watch at Reese Nichols to have a battery. Actually, 2. Actually 3. I had 3 watches with dead batteries. And I told the guy there, I said, I'm bringing in my watch. They got 3 dead batteries. It's like unlike some of my friends that have all of their car batteries go dead because they don't use them. I just have watches that went dead. So I had a Breitling and an Oakley and a tag. And the Oakley they changed out right away. Give it back to me.
Okay.
But the Breitling and the tag required service.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
They're special.
I had to pick those up a couple days later.
No, they're special.
Excuse me.
Did you hand it to them with your pinky up?
Lovey, come in the room.
That's pretty solid, Thurston.
Lovey,
I'm not sure of the 22 people who might be watching this who have a reference to the show that you are referencing.
Right. Yeah.
It's Gilligan's Island for those of you scoring at home.
Can you do any voices?
I do have a voice that apparently I do very well.
I want to hear it.
It's Gru from Despicable Me.
Oh yeah,
that's Gru. The girls are reading a story, and there are minions.
And you could do that voice before you knew that it was a voice.
Yes, before I ever saw the first Despicable Me movie. Like back in my teaching days, occasionally I just do stupid stuff. And so, we're going through a time test, and I'm reading off the answers, and as I'm wandering around the room reading off the answers, occasionally some random accent pops out.
Right, I have a lot of those.
Yeah, and so the quote-unquote Gru voice just fires out of my mouth, and the kids are like, you sound like that guy from Despicable Me. And I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've not seen this movie. Yeah, Gru. I was like, okay. And then as I was sitting there watching the movie for the first time, I hit my wife and I go, I sound like that guy.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's my thing.
That's a good one.
And then there's occasionally, when you're reading answers, you just kind of go into a little accent like this. I don't really know like who or what this is.
Kind of sounds like an Australian moved to Kentucky.
Right. Exactly. It's a hybrid of accents.
I married my cousin.
I think you just offended everyone in Kentucky.
Kentucky people.
Or did you offend the Australians? Man, wow, maybe an entire continent.
Andy, if you got offended by that, just let me know in the messages.
I'm sure whoever Andy or Nick are, they're watching.
Yeah, they might be.
They might be.
Nick is my friend Nick Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
We met. We were in Cabo one time, and there was a bunch of these young guys in the pool drinking at the bar, and they all had that accent, right? They're like, "Hey, it's nice to meet you. I'm glad you came down from Indiana. They have this Australian accent." And we're like, "Right," and like, what do you do? And they're like, we play footy. And I'm like, yeah, but professionally. Right? I don't want to know you guys are playing footy with each other. But they were Australian footballers.
Sure.
and Nick Maxwell was one of the guys. Brendan Hunter, another, and John Lovick. Just a bunch of fun guys that we hung out with. Right?
Okay.
And so Fred, my buddy Fred, he's like, I'm gonna go Google these guys. We went up to the room, and he came back, and he's like, hey, that Nick Maxwell's like the Peyton Manning of Australia. He's like, the first thing I found is a picture of him with the Prime Minister.
Oh, whoa!
And so we had a blast with these guys, although they could out drink us like by 8 a.m. And so we had fun with it, hung out all the time. And then they were like, hey, we're leaving tomorrow. We're going from here to Las Vegas, and our flight leaves at 7:30. And we're like, guys, you just, cut it out tonight,
That's right?
And so we're leaving on this trip to do an adventure or something, me and Tony and Fred and Peggy. We walk out through the lobby, and they're like, hey, mate. We turn around, and we're like, what are you guys doing? They're like, oh, we missed our flight. They were just coming back from the bars.
Oh, my gosh.
And later, they had a post, a picture of all of them laying in the Cabo airport, covered up with like a towel or something, and it said, Cabo 1, Australian 0. So they really got hammered. And then a few years later, we got a message from Nick, and he said, hey, Mike and Ike are flying us into a game in New York to see the Giants, and then flying us to Indianapolis to watch the Colts game on a Monday Night Football game.
Okay.
And we're like, all right, let's go to dinner. So they flew in from Australia, and we hung out for the night, had a blast, and we're begging them to come back from Australia to Cabo when we're there, because it's just a bunch of fun guys. And they're all married now, and it's been probably 8 or 9 years. So,
did you say they were mushrooms?
Excuse me?
Well, you said they were fun guys.
They're married. They are fun guys. They're not a mushroom. Little dad joking me there. Booyah!
Welcome to Real Estate Makes Us Drink. Brian Quinlan from Daniels Real Estate.
Brad Nickham from Nest Mortgage Group.
And we want to thank you for being here. And if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button, and you can check out all the episodes as they go on live. Brad, cheers, brother.
Cheers, my friend.
What are you drinking today, man?
I'm hankering for a little sunshine and some warmth. And I know that we're only like 2 days into cold weather. God, I hate it already.
It already feels like a whole winter.
It does. There was all that snow on my driveway yesterday.
Oh, yeah,
I took a
a
picture
dusting of snow.
And so I thought, well, I'm going to have me some Old Smoky Sun Beach. It's a great coconut-style moonshine. Takes me to someplace warm.
Okay.
So I'm wearing sunglasses and getting a tan underneath this right now.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. What did you got? What
It's
you got
sad
going?
he's wearing the Speedo down here that you can't see.
Yeah, you should be glad.
So today
It's cold too.
we're supporting the Hoosiers today. This is the Hoosier Game Day Lager from Upland Brewing Company.
How about that?
Located in Bloomington, Indiana.
Where the Hoosiers are from.
Right. So they got the pinstripe can, which I'm a big fan of the Hoosiers, being a graduate of Indiana University.
Do you have the pants?
I do.
Tearaway?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
A bit nerdy thing for me. So when I was a kid, number one, my dad is a graduate of DePaul University. I have to stress the L because around here, DePaul.
So that's the Chicago one.
Correct.
Okay.
So my dad went to DePaul University, and so when I was a kid in the 80s, we had season tickets for basketball. And this was back when DePaul was actually in the top 5 in the nation.
Really?
Yeah. They had gone to the Final Four in '79 when Larry Bird's team went to the Final Four. And then they had several years after that where they were really good. And so we had season tickets, and it was great. And one of the things that I was always fascinated by and thought was so cool was when the players would, get off the bench or right after pregame warmups, and they do the tearaway pants. And so I always wanted tearaway pants. Then I got to high school, and the varsity kids in high school had the tearaway pants, and I was like, oh my gosh. But I'm gonna tell you, a fear I had every game,
forgetting your shorts,
was that I didn't put the shorts on, and so I'd be going through warm-ups, and I'd be checking underneath just to make sure that I had the shorts on. Thankfully, I never did forget the shorts.
That would be bad.
That'd be a good story in and of itself, I suppose. But when my grandfather passed away, he had an Adidas, athletic jumpsuit or something that had the tearaway pants, and they were in fine quality condition. So I inherited those. And
awesome.
So I do have some tearaway pants, and then I ended up a few years ago buying some. So we're getting back to this. Buying the candy stripe pants, and they were the tearaway version, which made me very happy.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, I do own them.
I never wanted to do the tearaway pants, but until I seen the movie Bruce Almighty.
Oh yeah.
There's a part where he takes his hands and goes, and all of his clothes came off.
Yeah.
That'd be a fantastic trick. Tony would be just, so impressed.
Oh, absolutely. So I hit on the fact that I played basketball through high school.
You did.
What's your background? Like
sports?
We
hit on girls.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that. Thankfully, I've got this long-term relationship that I'm in and have been.
Long-term. I've been married to my high school sweetheart.
Oh my gosh! Okay, better than me.
34 years.
All right. Well,
high school sweetheart. I met her at the fairgrounds during the county fair. She was just sitting on the fence in the pig barn, just stunning.
Oh, all right.
And from that point on, I asked her out for several years until finally at a high school dance, my buddy told her no, and she danced with me, and boom, been married ever since.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you my story here in a minute, but back to my question. What's your background in terms of like sports or activities that you would have been involved in?
Activities that always got me in a lot of trouble at school and with my parents. Sports, no. Didn't play any sports.
You weren't a big fan of school.
No, school I hated school.
Yeah.
I've played guitar.
And apparently school hated you.
Yeah, I didn't do well in school. I was 8th grade math. Took me 4 times to get out of 8th grade math. And just for all of our youngsters in school right now who are thinking about that, I've owned 2 mortgage companies. So I guess that didn't really matter. I had a teacher ask me, Mr. Leach, he's...
Ooh, throwing names out there.
Yeah, Mr. Leach was my math teacher. I got to know him really well because I had his class so many times.
Sure.
He's a really nice guy. But he used to say to me, Mr. Nickum, do you think that you're going to be an adult and walk around everywhere you go with a calculator in your pocket? And I told Mr. Leach, I said, if I need one, I will carry one.
And I'm not sure how well that's showing up, but calculator
that's a
on the
mortgage
phone,
calculator.
Ooh.
It's like a Smarty calculator.
Yeah.
I bet you can't even operate that calculator.
I really can't.
Yeah.
No.
But do good in school, kids. It's important. But so no, I didn't do sports. My best friend in high school, Brian Poole, was the high school quarterback, and he's a great friend and was very involved in sports. And I all my friends were in sports or in trouble. I hung out with both of those groups.
All right.
Knew all the kids from all the schools in our county. Went to Northfield, graduated from Wabash, married a girl from Southwood. Always I knew where the parties were. That was my.
That makes you a popular person.
Yeah, it was my superpower as a kid. Like I knew how to maybe get alcohol when I was 21 and be able to find out where all the parties were, and I always had a great time.
Okay.
Played guitar. That was my thing that I just played guitar.
All right.
Rode some dirt bikes, rode some bicycles, and played guitar.
Well, okay. So you were very well rounded, it sounds like.
Actually, I'm more round now than what I was then. I was very skinny back then. I was a very small. I'm
not going well rounded geometrically, because I might describe you as that now, but.
Yeah, I'm very spheric in nature. Is that how you say that?
Sure. Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't play sports.
All right.
I had long hair too, so I would have had to cut my hair. Like.
No way.
Oh yeah, you ever see my prom pictures?
No.
Oh, I got a couple of prom pictures. Yeah, I can't. We usually post them on Facebook.
Was Tony in it?
All 4 of them.
Okay.
We went to 4 proms, not because I was slow in other areas, but we went to 2 different schools. So.
Right.
So we got Southwood and Wabash proms.
Huh.
Yeah, I had one prom short hair, the rest of them really long hair, like John Bon Jovi hair.
Ooh, hey, all right.
Yeah.
Which probably looked great when you were playing the guitar.
Yeah, or just because that was cool. At least I thought I was.
Well, again, you knew where the parties were, right? That does put you at the top of the cool. So this happened yesterday. So I was on X last night, laying in bed, which sounds like a porn thing, but no, it's Twitter. The story on there was Mark Cuban selling the majority interest in the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
For $3.5 billion. Now, that's not even the entire team.
And he gets to maintain control of it after it's sold.
I know.
Genius.
And, he sells the majority ownership, which I didn't see an entire story, does he still have a minority partnership of some sort? So again, $3.5 billion doesn't even get you an entire team, but holy cow, right? And then as I scroll down a little farther, it says that he bought the team in the year 2000. Do you know roundabout?
900 million. That's my guess.
Okay, and that's a wonderful guess. So I turned to my wife and I said, as I'm kind of sharing this, and I said, how much do you think he paid for this back in 2000? She goes, I don't know. Now, I'm going to not throw my wife entirely under the bus here. She's not really knowledgeable about sports.
Not a big sports person.
You know, I tried to say, but you understand like money and numbers, but either way. So I said, babe, what do you think he paid for the team? She goes, I don't know, like $1 million? I said, nope. Are you serious?
Yeah, we would have bought one.
In the year 2000, $1 million for a professional sports team? She goes, well, I don't know how much these athletes, like, what do the athletes make, like a couple $100,000 or something, right? I go, like the minimum salary for an NBA player is probably $1 million. And so we asked Siri, and she says the minimum NBA salary is in the $900,000 range. I was like, see, $1 million 23 years ago for a professional sports team? Come on. So I had to laugh at that. You know, she just doesn't quite get it.
How much did he buy it for?
$285 million.
That's high.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty nice return on investment over 23 years, right?
I would say so.
He's doing okay. And then my buddy, I was telling him that story too, and he said he had seen that next year Cuban is not on Shark Tank anymore.
Yeah,
so
he announced
being 65 years old, I wonder if he's just kind of dialing things back. And
was going to maintain control of the team. And did you know who bought it? The majority interest.
Well, I saw the name, but it wasn't anybody I recognized.
They're owner of large casinos.
Yes,
in Las Vegas.
Yes, I did see casinos.
So there's two schools of thought there. Is that he has always wanted a stadium that they played in that had a casino. So now Texas does not let sports betting in a casino in the state of Texas. So you wouldn't be able to have gambling and a sports book in the stadium if it is in Texas. But who's to say the Mavericks don't become the Las Vegas Mavericks? And, you know, we have the Los Angeles, Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders there now.
Right.
So
they're just the Las Vegas Raiders now.
Well, you got to keep their track record there, don't you?
Okay.
That's just, I don't know where they start before Oakland.
I think they started in Oakland, actually.
But at any rate, that's a thing. You know, they could be moving to Vegas and then building a new stadium that maybe has some betting right there in the stadium.
Well, that would be something.
And I can place a pretty good bet on that I know I would win. I'm not going to go to it.
Okay. All right. One thing I said I would get to and did not was you had said how you met Tony. So my Stephanie story.
Yeah.
So we went to IU together. And she claims that we had a calculus class together our freshman year. Only because we had the same teacher. But could have been different times of day. I don't remember anyone.
Anyone saying you disagree with Stephanie on how you met? Because
I'm not in. Well, we didn't even meet. That's
a weak foundation.
Yeah. We did not even meet in that class. And
okay.
I honestly didn't really talk to anybody in that class. So it is what it is. Fast forward to junior year. Thank you. And we had a creative writing class together. And this creative writing class had an element where you had to go to a lecture like twice a week. And then you went to a small group to do like work sessions, you know, workshopping things, right?
I don't know what that means, but keep going.
Shut up. So smaller group with teacher's assistant, and that's where you essentially workshop things, got your assignments and all that. So she and I were in that class together. And, you know, we sat near each other in the lecture part because we knew the same people. But again,
you weren't like scouting her out.
No, not whatsoever. In fact, on either level, her or myself, there was no interest at that time. And making that worse was in the small class. You know, I don't know if you're this kind of person. When you go somewhere repeatedly, do you often sit in the same seat? Like church, for instance.
No. I like to mix it up because I make other people uncomfortable because I'm in their chair.
So anyway, people in the workshop are used to kind of sitting in the same area in the classroom.
Yep.
And so one day I walked in, teacher's assistant wasn't there yet, and all the desks had been arranged in a circle. And Stephanie says,
I usually sit over there.
I don't remember the name of the instructor. We're going to call him Kevin. So Kevin said that he wanted everyone to sit somewhere else today. I was like, okay. So I find another seat, whatever. And then Kevin walks in. He's like, oh, somebody switched around the desk. Okay, that's all right. I was like, son of a...
serious?
So not happy. So anyway, that was kind of my initial impression with Stephanie, that not necessarily my favorite person, though we still, stayed friendly. And she was actually dating a friend of mine at the time. But again, no interest either way, so whatever. We both wound up staying in Bloomington that summer and hanging out because we didn't have too many other people that were around that we knew. So,
Kilroy's?
Yeah, occasionally, right? So again, just hang out, friendly relationship. Then for whatever reason, senior year started, and hanging out and attraction kind of started. Maybe just because we were hanging out a lot more or whatever. Right. I have no idea.
You like the Backstreet Boys too?
She actually tried to set me up with her roommate.
What?
Yeah, which I did not know at the time that was the plan when I was invited over there to hang out for like a cookout or something.
Do you remember her name?
I do, and we'll leave that out. That's fine. She's probably not watching this anyways. But either way, fast forward only a few weeks to Stephanie's 21st birthday. Now, I had turned 21 in May, so now we're in September. And her 21st birthday was a Monday. And it's popular when you turn 21 to go to the bars at midnight the night before so that you can start drinking right away, right?
Can't do that anymore.
It's a Sunday in
you could
Indiana.
Yeah.
It was not possible.
Couldn't go drinking at midnight.
A friend of ours was a bartender at one of those Kilroy's bars. So we went over to another friend's apartment, and there was a party for Stephanie's birthday, and she will say she did 24 shots in a 24-hour period for her birthday. Some shots not as good as others.
Nothing makes you fall in love.
So
like having some shots.
So we're hanging out at this apartment, and she's not doing well. And so she's like, I need to go outside and get some air. And so she goes out on the front porch, and she's just sitting there. And I was like, well, I'll go out and see if she's okay. And so we're sitting out there, and in drunken stupor, Stephanie says, Brian, you're a nice guy. If you were to ask me out, I'd say yes. I was like, oh, okay. So I ended up driving her home that night because her car was there, but there was no way she was driving home.
Right.
Side story. At the apartment complex, in the parking lot, she pukes out my car.
Did you hold her hair?
No.
Okay. That's like instant love.
Right. So kicks the door open, pukes out the car. A gentleman who was inside of a van in the parking lot comes over to make sure everything's okay. Now, that van had been in her parking lot for days, and she kept wondering what that was all about.
The FBI.
Drunk Stephanie decides now's the time to confront this gentleman. She's like, why is your van here all the time? You're scared. He goes, he was undercover. Literally, not FBI, but like there had been some things happening in that apartment complex, and so he was there for safety reasons. I was like, he's like, she could be okay, like she's fine. So got her into her apartment, her roommate, put her to bed, whatever. Next day is now the actual 21st birthday, and we go to there was a gathering at a local establishment, and there were shots purchased, and I walked in, bought her a shot, hung out for a little bit, had to go study for a test.
Aww.
And we had our first date. That was a Monday, or we had our first date on Friday.
How about that?
And that was 1994. And
okay, so I was supposed to ask you, Brian, since we're cruising into starting a new year,
right?
And I really think that as an industry, where right now we have the slowest real estate sales numbers since I think they said 2010.
Okay. Wow. So I didn't see that, but that's
very, very slow. Not a lot of people buying homes today. Not a lot of homes for sale. New build homes actually are 17% of the sales that happened last month, which is like a mega high number for new sales. And mainly it's because we have a low inventory issue, and there's still people that want to buy homes. Don't think that people are like, oh no, I just rather pay really high rent for the rest of my life. But it's trying to find that house. So if I was getting getting past these holidays and rolling into 2024, I'm actually going to turn your question into a 2-point question.
Okay.
One, why is it advantageous for me to wait till spring, and why not just get my house listed for sale? And if I am going to wait, what's some things I should do to prepare myself to sell my house in the spring?
So, question one, why is it
not just sell it now?
Oh, why not just sell it now?
That's a better way to say it.
I would actually say if you're considering selling your house now and it's ready to go, do it.
Okay, so now, how do I know if my house is ready to go? Now, I'm going to answer that question for you. If it ain't broken and you want to move, sell it. But what do you mean by that?
So, lack of inventory, which you hit on, and there are still people who want to buy houses, and a lot of them.
Right.
So if you wanted to sell your house now and it's in good condition, there aren't many, if any, things you need to fix to get it sold.
Right.
Get it sold, because you'll probably have an offer by the end of the week and be able to sell it. Now that, of course, you have to price it correctly. You can't just say, oh, there aren't any houses for sale, I'm going to jack up the price of this house. It will sit. I can almost guarantee you it will sit. But if it's priced well, there are people in any price range that are looking to buy houses.
Yep.
And you will probably have it under contract before the end of the week.
Yep.
And if the person has a loan, you're not going to close it before the end of the year, most likely.
You can. If you call the right people,
that's true.
We can close that loan in 20 days.
There you go. So it is possible, but not necessarily guaranteed. So I'm not going to throw it out there and say you'll have it sold by the end of the year.
Consult your local lender.
There you go. Exactly. So that's why I would say if you're ready to do it, thinking about it, do it now. Okay.
And let's say I live in Indianapolis area.
You do.
I do. Yeah. And let's say that I am one of those people that want to move. Let's say I'm looking for a house that I could put a bar in.
Oh, okay.
And I'm ready to move.
Yeah.
Right? I want to get this sold, and now I think it's a good time. What would I do next? What's the next thing I do?
Give me a call.
Okay. That's
so
what I was hoping you'd say.
Brian Quinlan, and down in the comments, there's a Calendly link that you can reach out to me. You could leave a comment and just say, hey, I want to talk about selling my house. And
Can they call you?
They could. I don't know that my phone number is on the screen, but either way.
Well, you can call me at 317-538-9825, and I can give you his number.
There you go. Yeah, so call me, and I'll come out and go through your house, make sure that it is in good condition, because some people have, an overinflated opinion of the condition of their house.
Sure, that is true.
And, let you know, yeah, you're ready, or hey, I'd recommend, maybe you take care of this, or...
How do I calculate sentimental value into the price of my
There is no price for sentimental value. There isn't. So I don't have any advice on that.
My baby was made on this countertop.
Yeah. Well, take the countertop with you. So there's that. Now, let's say that you don't feel your house is, maybe I come in there and like, you know what, you really aren't ready. You need to do A, B, and C to get your house ready, especially to maximize value, because that's the whole point.
Sure, the whole point's making money on your house.
Absolutely. You could sell it right now in any condition, to be honest. But you're probably going to get less money than you intended for.
Right.
So what I'm going to recommend is, number one, don't make any huge changes to your house. Like, now isn't the time to completely renovate your kitchen and then try and sell it in March, because you're going to put thousands and thousands of dollars into that renovation, and you're probably not going to get your money back on that. The return on investment just isn't that quick of a turnaround.
So are you telling me that dollar for dollar doesn't happen? So if I put in, let's say, a $150,000 pool, which if you've put it in a brand new in-ground pool, it's $150,000. So if I got a $200,000 house and I put in a $150,000 house, can I now sell it for $350,000?
No. And there are some people who actually tell you that a pool, at least this was a while ago, a pool actually doesn't increase the value of your house. Nowadays, it probably does, because they are so challenging to get put in and cost so much money.
Some people don't want a pool.
Oh, for sure.
That's where it can be a downside.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people walk in and like, oh, there's a pool, and I'm not.
So what if I put like $50,000 cabinets in my kitchen?
Cabinets are nice. It will certainly draw attention, but again, you're not going to get an extra $50,000 on the value of your house back. It just doesn't really work that way. You can ask for it. I mean, you can
May not
ask
happen.
for whatever you want.
Can I tell you the one that I tell people all the time?
Yeah.
You can put $1 million toilet in a $100,000 house, and it doesn't mean you have a $1.1 million house. It means you got a $100,000 house with $1 million toilet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so true.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
There's people that think, oh, I'm gonna paint all the walls, right? And the very first person you show the home to goes, I hate the color of these walls. The first thing I'm going to do is paint it, and I want to ask, can we ask for a painting allowance?
Woo.
I've seen that happen to people, So the advice of the agent when they look at the house, they're the professionals. If I was going to sell this house today, the first thing I do is I'd have an agent come in.
Me?
And yeah, absolutely. I would call Brian, have him come in and walk through the house and tell me, you need to take all the bottles off the bar and put it in my car. That's probably something he would say to me. You have
I'm just helping, Brad.
Go through and tell me, outside of my eye, because something that I like may not be something that, really works in the marketplace. And I know I have friends that have been agents for years. And one of the things is that I find funny when I go to some of my agents' homes is every room will have very neutral colored walls.
Yeah.
Like they don't paint the walls colorful, because you all have walked in a house and shown it and opened a door to one of those neon green bedrooms and went, oh, right? So realtors, in the most case, you'll walk in and have very neutral colored carpets, very neutral colored walls, because that's easier to sell than, this beautiful house that has purple walls to a person that hates the color purple.
Yep.
So you got to think about those things, and an agent can really give you the right advice to know, hey, these are the steps that I should take, and these are the steps I shouldn't take. Some of the things that I think would help, an agent will look at you and go, what are you thinking that for, right? So that's great advice to get an agent to come to your house.
I'll give you an example. So, I've gone into someone's house and they have some, ratty carpet, dirty, or, maybe has some stains on it. Maybe one room is pink, another room is beige. And I've been in a
black
few of those.
Ceiling.
I want to focus on the floor, right? But yes, black ceiling. And so their question to me was, should we replace the flooring with new carpeting or whatever, because that's something we're thinking about. In every situation is different, but what I will often go to in that situation is no, because I put myself in the potential buyer's situation there, and if they're going to put new flooring in anyway, I would rather choose what that flooring is going to be, because if I come in and they've changed the flooring to something I don't like, now there's brand new flooring that I'm going to probably tear out and buy something new.
So true.
But I'll feel bad about tearing out this brand new flooring.
Brand new carpet.
Oh my gosh, it's awful. So my recommendation in most cases is to have a flooring allowance, where at closing you're going to give X amount of dollars over to the buyer, not the buyer specifically. You're going to give it to the flooring company for them to choose the flooring that they want to go in there. It can't go directly to the buyer. That is mortgage fraud. I probably wind up saving the seller money in that case.
Absolutely.
And
the buyer money, potentially.
Exactly. So it's good for both sides. And again, that's why the recommendation to have myself come in and check out your house before you want to list it is a good idea. I may have different suggestions than what you want, and ultimately it's the seller's choice, but at least they have recommendations of a professional to try and maximize, because that's the point, maximize what they're going to get out of the house.
Yeah. Okay, so
all right, well, that does it for this episode. We'd like to thank you for watching, Brad. Once again, thanks for, I got to fill that up. Thanks for hosting here at the, what do we got it?
Brad and Tony's Party Barn.
So thanks for watching. Leave us a comment if you have any questions. Hit the Calendly link if you want to schedule a strategy session. And once again, thanks for watching, Brad. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks to Matt Braun and Dusty Braun for the sign as a Christmas present this year. Very much appreciated.
Awesome.